Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like life is a puzzle, a massive, complex maze, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to find the right way through? The truth is, life is exactly that, a maze. But here's the thing, many people try to navigate it alone, relying solely on their own understanding, their own logic, their own strength. And guess what? They end up lost, struggling, frustrated. But there is another way. A way where the pieces start to fall into place. A way where the path becomes clearer, and the weight of uncertainty lifts off your shoulders. And that way, my friend, is through God's wisdom. I'm here to tell you that God's wisdom isn't just some abstract, unreachable concept. It's practical. It's alive. It's a power that, if you let it, will guide your every step. It will transform you, your decisions, your relationships, your future. As I once said, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. Do you hear that? It's that simple. Asking God will give. It's not about earning wisdom, it's about receiving it. Think of wisdom as a treasure chest. The world is full of distractions, full of noise, full of voices telling you how to live, what to chase, what to value. But these voices often lead you astray, leaving you empty, unfulfilled. The wisdom of this world is foolishness with God, I once said. And let me tell you, I'm not speaking just to sound wise. I'm speaking from experience. The world's wisdom is like chasing the wind. It promises a lot but delivers little. But God's wisdom is a treasure chest full of gems, each piece more valuable than anything you can imagine. And it's available to you if you just reach out and ask. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but how do I get this wisdom? How do I start living with it? It's simple, really. It starts with surrender. Surrender your own limited understanding and open yourself to God's limitless knowledge. Imagine you're standing on the edge of a vast ocean. The waves crash at your feet, and you're looking out at the horizon, wondering how to navigate this immense, ever-changing sea. That ocean? That's life. But there's a boat waiting for you. And that boat, my friend, is God's wisdom. The moment you get into that boat and trust the direction of the currents, the journey becomes smooth. The winds may change, the waves may come, but you'll be guided safely through them all. But here's the thing, God's wisdom doesn't come by accident. It requires intention. It requires attention. It requires you to stop for a moment in the busyness of life and listen. Do you remember what happened with Solomon? When God appeared to him and asked what he wanted, Solomon didn't ask for wealth or fame, the things most would wish for. No, he asked for wisdom. Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. And because he sought wisdom above all else, everything else came to him. Riches, honor, and a long life. Wisdom is the principal thing, as it's written. But we often settle for what's easy, what's quick, what's temporary. Wisdom, however, is deeper. It's like a deep well, and the deeper you go, the purer and more refreshing the water becomes. But it takes effort, patience, and a willingness to dive deeper than the surface of this world's distractions. When you understand God's wisdom, you begin to see the world differently. You stop chasing after fleeting pleasures and start investing in eternal truths. As I said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seek his wisdom first, and everything else, the success, the peace, the joy, will follow. It's not about getting the things you want first and then maybe, if you have time, looking for God. It's about putting God's wisdom at the center of your life, and watching everything else fall into place. But let me be clear, wisdom is not always easy. It's not about following the crowd. The road is narrow, and few there be that find it. The path that leads to wisdom is often a lonely one, a difficult one. But the reward is worth it. When you seek God's wisdom, you're not just gaining knowledge, you're gaining understanding. And that understanding gives you the strength to navigate life's challenges. It gives you the clarity to make the right decisions, even when the world is pressuring you to make the wrong ones. Let's pause for a moment and think about a powerful image, a ship caught in a storm. The waves are huge, crashing against the sides. The wind howls and everything seems uncertain. It's easy to panic, to lose your way, and to think that you're going under. But when you have a skilled navigator at the helm, someone who knows the storm, who knows the currents, the ship doesn't sink. It rides the waves, guided by a steady hand. That navigator? That's God's wisdom. It doesn't promise the storm will disappear, but it promises that you'll make it through. Wisdom is not just about knowing what to do, it's about knowing why you do it. Let me give you another example. Think about the story of David and Goliath. David, a young shepherd, had no business defeating the giant warrior that everyone else feared. Yet he did. Because David didn't rely on his own strength. He trusted in God's wisdom. He knew that the giant was no match for the power of God working through him. And when David faced the giant with just a slingshot, he didn't do it in his own might. He trusted God's wisdom. And God's wisdom gave him the courage, the clarity, and the victory. When you understand God's wisdom, you begin to see how your challenges are nothing compared to His power. You may not always have the answer right away, but you will have peace in the waiting. You will have assurance that God is working on your behalf. There's a freedom that comes with that kind of trust. But here's the best part. When you start to live according to God's wisdom, you don't just change your own life. You change the lives of those around you. People will see the peace in your heart, the calm in your soul, the direction in your steps. And when they ask how you live this way, you will be able to say, it's not me. It's God's wisdom working through me. And that becomes the testimony that others need. You become a beacon of light in a world that is lost in the darkness of confusion. Now, I want you to understand this final truth. Living according to God's wisdom doesn't mean life will be free of difficulties. In fact, difficulties may increase. But it does mean that you will have the strength to stand firm. You'll have a foundation that cannot be shaken. You will be like the wise man who built his house on the rock. The rains came down and the floods came up, but the house on the rock stood firm. The world may try to throw storms at you, but if you are rooted in God's wisdom, you will stand strong. Do you see how this works? God's wisdom doesn't just give you answers. It changes the way you see everything. It changes the way you live, the way you love, the way you approach challenges. When you live according to His wisdom, you live with purpose. You live with peace. You live with joy that no circumstance can take away. So, I ask you again, are you ready to embrace God's wisdom? Are you ready to stop relying on your own understanding and start leaning on the one who sees everything, who knows everything, who created it all? The path to a fulfilling life is right in front of you. And it begins with a simple choice, to seek God's wisdom above all else. Remember, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And once you begin, there's no turning back. Your life will never be the same. So, I leave you with this. Are you ready? Ready to unlock the treasure of God's wisdom and live a life that is not only fulfilling but purposeful, powerful, and eternal? The choice is yours.